Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is testing variables, or beginning to test variables anyway. We're going to look at three functions that you'll use quite a bit in this course. Isset is one of them, ISSET, as well as empty, and then there's another one, is numeric. So we'll take a look at those three, and to do so, we're going to start with a very basic page. And you can see in the body, I already have a form created. It's a very simple form. And in fact, if we go look at it, it looks like this. All right, so it does nothing right now because if I type something in and hit submit, then you'll see it just comes back to the same page. Yes, it is a recursive call. It's calling itself. The name of this file is testvariables.php. So when I click submit, it just calls itself. So if I go over here and look at what I've done at the end of this, you'll see there's the garbage that I put in. All right, there's a variable name, a value, which is right there. Okay, so let me get rid of that. All right, so now what I want to do is let's look at what happens as this variable, a value in this case, oops, right there, gets sent back into this file. So what I'm going to do is create a PHP section to experiment with, and then inside of this, I want to, in fact, let's go up here at the top and create another PHP section. Like that. And so what I want to do is I want to get this variable. I'm just going to call it var, or var1 maybe, because it has no purpose other than demonstration. Then I'm going to get it out of my global, my super global get array. Okay, and it's called what? Well, it's called a value right there. Okay, so if I put that right here and I get it out, then I can come in here and echo out the variable right there. Okay, and let me go ahead, in fact, while I'm doing this, let's put a line break right there. So I can concatenate a string and output HTML to the screen, okay, or to the browser window. All right. Now I'm going to upload that to the server. Come back over here, and I'm going to refresh. You'll see there's nothing there, and that's because let me add another, concatenate another string in here, and I'm just going to put var1 there in order to see something besides just a blank space. Come back over, refresh, and you'll see there's nothing there. var1's string is there, but there's nothing in that variable because I did not click submit. Okay, I did not click submit. If I come up here, then you'll see at the end of my string, there's nothing there at the end of my URL. All right, so in order to send information over in the get array, I have to click submit. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's click submit with nothing in it, and I get the same result. Only you don't realize it, but it's not exactly the same. Okay, it's an empty string this time. So there is a value called a value that's in the get array. There is an entry, but it's just not showing anything because, well, an empty string was sent to it. Okay, so let's see how we can use some PHP functions to help us out. Okay, I'm going to use something called isset. Okay, so I'm going to put in here another way for us to see what's going on is set, and then at the end, I want to add the line break, semicolon. Inside of isSet, I'm going to put var1. So I'm passing var1, and this is what I'm interested in here. The rest of this around this function call is just a way to format the string so I can make sense out of it in my browser. But isSet is a function that's called and sent as a parameter this var1. So the variable right here, I'm sending over to isSet. And what it does is it returns a true or false depending upon whether that value is set. In other words, it actually exists. It's not null. So let's upload that and come back over here now. And remember from last time, we'll come out here at the end, I actually have values in here, so I'm going to remove those. Okay, I'm going to remove the end of my URL string and get rid of my get variables, hit enter, and you'll see isSet is nothing. Okay, that returns a null value. If it is set, then it actually returns a 1. And so that's how I can test this thing with an if statement. We'll do that here in just a second. So moving forward, I'm going to put a value in here. I'm just going to put foobar, okay, and I'm going to hit submit. And now you'll see I actually have a 1 coming back, which means that tested positive, it is set. So that means that I came into this form, all right, and the value of that field right there was set to something. I don't know what. Well, in this case, I show it to be foo. I misspelled it, but foobar is what that's supposed to be in. Okay, so I can do this again. Spell it right, and you'll see it come through. All right, so now let me go back to the end of this and delete the get variables, hit enter. You see those went away. Now I'm going to add something else in here. I'm also going to echo empty, empty, okay, and then I'm going to put empty function call and also send it var1. I'm going to concatenate at the end, another line break, and a semicolon. Okay, I'm going to upload that. Come back over here, refresh, and you'll see empty is 1. Okay, so ask yourself, you think of these function names as being useful by the fact that it answers a question. Empty, is it empty? Well, in this case, a 1 means a true. In computer science, 0 is generally a false and 1 is generally a true. So empty, yes, it's empty. As I said, there's nothing back. That means it's a null. And then a var1, there's nothing in it. So let's put something in here and see how this whole thing behaves. var AR. And now we see empty goes away because it's no longer empty anymore. It is set, and that's the value that's in it. Okay. So now we can use this knowledge in order to test our variables coming into the page. I could do something like if is set $var1. If it is set, now I can, so that means somebody has clicked the submit button or at least attached some variables to the end of the URL, which is the same thing. That means somebody's clicked that submit button and now I can act on it. Okay, so let's go another step further. First off, else echo enter something and click submit. So just give some message in there. And here I can echo submitted something, checking for a value. Okay, here, if empty, open and close, if var1, and then here I go, that means submitted and a value in the text field. That means you hit submit and there is a value in that text field. Here is submitted, but no value in text field. Okay, now let's test this and see if it works. Okay. All right, so I'm going to upload this. I need to put, I see right now, some line breaks, and you'll learn to do this. Line breaks, break, and break. Embed that HTML inside that string. Okay, so now let's come back and look at what we're doing. In fact, well, let's just leave those there for now. So what I'm doing is I'm checking the variable to see if it is set, to see if the submit button was clicked. If not, please submit using a click button, or please enter something and click submit. Okay, if that's the case, then if it was submitted, then I'll output something was submitted, but now let's check it for a value. So here I check to see if that same variable has something in it rather than just an empty string. Okay, if it does, if it is empty, well, notice how this is not going to work properly, because if it's empty, then that's going to be a true, which means submitted and a value in the text field. So that means I need to negate the output of that empty and put a not sign. So that's what turns that to the opposite result. So if it is empty, then I want to not it to make it go to this else statement. Okay, and we'll get some practice with that in class. So let's upload that. Back over here. Refresh that. Let's see what we had at the end of our string. We had value equals foobar. So I hit submit. How it knows is because of that right there. All right. So I hit submit button, as well as I have a value of foobar in a value. So if I look here, submitted something, checking for a value, submitted a value in the text field, so everything checks out just fine. If I submit here with nothing in the text field, then we'll see, well, it did pass the test for clicking on the submit button. However, submitted but no value in the text field. I didn't enter anything. Okay, submit again, and now I have both of them true. So that's a way to test to see if something's in a field, and if it even came over by the submit button at all. Okay, this works for the post as well. You would just have to change the values of the get here to the post array. Okay, that's all for now.